What is up, everybody? It's Brian. We're not here tonight for the Horror Movie Club. We're not here for Spaghetti Western Jamboree. This is the new shit. This is the Kung Fu Theater. I've been wanting to do a stream about Kung Fu movies for a long time because I'm one of those cats. You go through my DVD Blu-ray collection, you're going to notice certain genres standing out. Horror, obviously. Westerns, yeah, but also Kung Fu movies. I like to think that we're not just going to be doing old school Shaw Brothers movies, although we're definitely going to be covering those. But we're also going to do 70s karate movies. The Sonny Chiba movies. Definitely want to get into those. Some of the new shit. The martial arts movies that Thailand was producing in the 2000s, especially in the early 2000s. Fucking amazing. We're going to get into those too. But tonight we are talking about one of the all-time classics. Shaw Brothers, Chang Cheh directing, Venom Mob starring Crippled Avengers. Also with Shen Quan Tai. Now, if you're wondering, who are these people? Who the fuck are the Venom Mob? Well, we're going to get into that shit because you got to learn. You got to learn. If you've never seen the 5 Deadly Venoms, I don't know what I can even say to you. But I know one guy that loves 5 Deadly Venoms, and that is my boy, your boy, Preston Acevedo. What's going on, Doge?
I wish I could get the rights to the 5 Deadly Venoms. Like, that would be the greatest graphic novel ever to work on.
Oh, my God.
What? Is that public domain? Like, the 5 Deadly Venoms came out in the 60s, didn't it?
It came out in the 70s.
So,
I don't know. I'm guessing that it's probably Shaw Brothers. Shaw Brothers was very, very careful with their stuff. Like one of the reasons, like if you look at these movies, like the DVD transfers, now the Blu-rays, you'll notice that they're pristine, that there's not a speck of fucking print damage on any of those negatives, right?
But they're almost 50 years old. I mean, those movies. I mean, how long does copyright last anyway?
Oh God. Well, for one thing, the Chinese were never good about copyrights, right?
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
That would be something to look into. Oh man, we could do literally Street Fighter versus the 5 Deadly Venoms.
Do a modern version of 5 Deadly Venoms would be amazing. Dude. Like do one. Oh, dude, that'd be amazing. Like do one in the past and have it evolve into the future.
Yes,
kind of like they did with Basilisk. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like they took it up like 10 years later or something like that. Amazing.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
I wonder how. Like who owns the Shaw Brothers movies?
The Shaw Brothers, I would think. Sir Runmei Shaw was the major guy in the Shaw Brothers studio. They built a big fucking studio lot in Hong Kong, and basically used those sets in almost every movie. Right? They got really good at switching them up. It's like like the old Western towns that were used in like almost every TV Western, right?
Well, I'm just thinking about licensing, like getting a license for the show for the 5 Deadly Venoms and seeing. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you really don't need a license for it. You could just.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
5 Deadly Venoms.
Like I was mentioning before about like how pristine the prints of the movies are. That means that they took those and they put those in a temperature-controlled vault, like right away. In other words, they were thinking ahead. So, do they have their asses covered legally for all their shit? It wouldn't surprise me. But once again, we're talking about the Chinese who aren't very big on copyrights, although of course these movies were made in Hong Kong. So these movies weren't made in the People's Republic of China, they were made in Hong Kong, which of course China leased to the British. Right. So that's why Hong Kong was basically this experiment, right? Where the Chinese were like, yeah, let's just like rent them, this city in a bay and everything. And let's see what happens. And what happened was something absolutely fucking incredible. And so in 1997, the rights reverted back to the People's Republic of China. And the Chinese movie industry was still really good. The Hong Kong movies were still really good for a number of years. Like I thought that they would get right in there and start fucking with shit. They didn't, but eventually they did. And that's why I don't even really bother watching Chinese movies made in like the last 15 years.
Is it possible that the rights for those movies are actually in the hands of the Chinese government or something? I don't know. Wasn't there a law at one point where in China, like talent was owned by the government? Like if you were born with talent, you were automatically like owned by the government or some shit like that. Like it was some nutty law, dude. Like it was crazy. Like talented people were property of the Chinese government.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me, And of course, Chairman Mao was a fucking fiend. But it's like if you watch a contemporary kung fu movie from Hong Kong now, there's always an anti-Western, pro-Chinese message in the film. It's
propaganda movies.
They're propaganda movies. And every movie has
Rambo was a proper. Rambo was.
Oh, for sure. Movie. Yeah. No.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Red Dawn and all that shit. Yeah. The way it's always worked here is Top Gun. That was a fucking recruiting film if there ever was one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And
probably underwritten by the CIA.
Yeah, no, I mean the military and the CIA, they get final say on the screenplay. Right?
Yeah. Really?
And,
okay.
Oh, dude, they've been all up in the movie industry. That's why when people are like,
Christ, dude.
Yeah. That's why when people are like, oh, you're being a good conspiracy theorist when you say that they're fucking with the Marvel movies. I'm like, bitch, please.
No,
Even thank the CIA in the end credits of fucking WandaVision.
Get out! I never knew that. Hey, shit, dude.
Yeah, so it's not. In other words, it's not a fucking secret. It's never been a secret. Now, somebody like Oliver Stone, when he made Platoon, you know, he wanted access to all that military shit too, right? Because it would make his movie look bigger. And they were like, okay, well, you just basically need to rewrite the whole screenplay so that it makes war look peachy keen. He was like, I was there, motherfuckers. I ain't changing shit. And they were like, okay, well, guess what? You can't use our aircraft carriers. You can't use our jets. You can't use our helicopters. You can't use our tanks.
And which movie was that again?
Platoon.
Okay. I wonder how they
for Best Picture that year.
Yeah. I wonder how they pushed Apocalypse Now like through, you know, because Apocalypse Now was fucking brutal, dude.
Yes.
Somebody die on a set. He got decapitated by a helicopter blade, you know, like.
I think you might be mixing that up with the Twilight Zone movie.
Was it Twilight? I know somebody died on Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Now.
Yeah, it was Vic Morrow and a child. Yeah, that he was carrying under his arm. Yeah, horrible tragedy. But Apocalypse Now also, I did not have any help from the United States military. They had to pay for all that. That was
a great movie, dude.
Incredible, incredible, classic, man, classic. That's, you know, I've heard that the new joint from Francis Ford Coppola, it's called Megalopolis. It's like a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early word about that is less than encouraging, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? Is that underwritten by the CIA?
Fake reviews, like Lionsgate put up fake reviews, and like,
really,
yeah. So that's always a bad sign. It's like the new Crow movie came out yesterday, and there was a review embargo until 7:00 last night. Right. In other words, when they're hiding the movie from critics or telling critics, well, you can watch it, but you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
That means that it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign.
Oh, okay. So they didn't want any bad reviews to come in until 7:00. Like, is that
until
what you're saying?
At least they had some people, you know, showing up for like for the first night.
There was some people that were willing to go because everybody's so hungry for a good Gothic, you know, hero movie.
Yeah, man.
Like that. Like there's a lot of people willing to overlook the fact that, you know, this isn't really Eric Draven, you know, and they're bastardizing his name, you know, and
the look of the character, like Brandon Lee looked exactly like the character, right? And there are moments in that where he just especially looks like he jumped off the comic book page, right?
Well, you can also see like they were so true to that character. When they did that movie, there was a faint scar going across his nose, like where in the book, his like skull ruptured and it cracked. That's why one of his eyes is discolored from the other one in the comic, you know?
Yeah.
And and there were scenes where you look closely, you can see where they added the scar going across his nose and shit, you know, like
that's amazing. Yeah, you know, I mean, I understand it's like, you know, the sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, but it looks like they weren't even making an effort, right? It looked like instead of going for sort of like a 90s goth vibe, they were like, oh, let's make it look like
cash in. Let's cash in on a name and just do the least amount of work as possible.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, I like Bill Skarsgård. I think he's an excellent actor. And you know, he can do the physical shit. You know, if you've seen Boy Kills World, I can't recommend that as a movie. I don't think it's a good film, but it's watchable, and the martial arts in that's really good. He trained with like oh god, I forget his name, but he's like the Salat master, right? In other words,
is it Boy Kills World or Boy Eats World?
Boy Kills World. Okay,
because there's a TV series from Australia called Boy Kills World on Netflix.
James.
And it's actually pretty good. It's a dude from Vikings was in the first few episodes.
Of what? Yeah. What is this called?
Boy Kills World. And it's an Australian TV series that's on Netflix. Okay. Yeah. It's actually pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was
I was just talking about no, the movie I was referring to, I mean, the one that I'm referring to is something that that just came out. It didn't get a theatrical release. It just went like direct to video. What up, Bracey?
I'll tell you what.
What's going on?
I'm curious. What time does it actually start?
That depends. That depends. Like, we're supposed to start at like 9:30, but if we're talking about shit pre, it may be about like 15 minutes late or something.
I thought it was 10 o'clock. Like, I can never get the right time. Okay, 9:30.
Okay, it's all good. The Crow has a 6 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look.
Don't go by Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes has some shitty reviews on it.
Well,
I haven't been able to trust Rotten Tomatoes since Disney bought Star Wars.
Yeah, they bought and paid for. We watched a movie the other night, and it's kind of a horror movie. It's called The King Tide, and it was really good. It was like the sea gives this island, this baby, right? Like they had a storm, and they had a bunch of wrecked boats that they had on the island, and then they hear a baby crying. They go, get this baby from underneath this boat in the water.
So she's like literally from the sea.
Yeah, and the dude that got her when he was in there getting the child, like he ripped his stomach open on a piece of metal, right? And when he came out, he's holding the kid and his stomach heals, right? So they start depending on this kid for the next 10 years. Like, she's curing people, she's bringing fish. They cut themselves off completely from civilization until one day she accidentally kills a bunch of bees, and she realized she can use her power to kill. And she gets a mental block, like she can't use her powers anymore, and people start freaking out, and they're like, what do we do, and all this kind of shit. And then the kids used to play this game where they would eat poison berries and race to her house in time to be because you ain't got to be in the same room with her. You just have to be around her, and she'll heal you, right?
Oh, so she doesn't even need to touch you.
No, so they would run to her room outside of her house. Except this one time, she wasn't there. She was with her dad in the sea.
She happens to be taking a walk.
Well, she wasn't there, and they had shut down the hospital because they didn't need the hospital anymore. So this kid dies, and she's traumatized by that too, and she completely loses her powers, right? So they discover, like, while she's awake, she can't use her powers, but while she's sleeping, like, they still can be, like, her powers still work while she's not awake, right? Like, subconsciously.
Oh, so
they start
time now.
They start drugging her. Yeah. And it gets worse, dude. Like, it goes off the fucking rails from there on.
This sounds great. What's the name of this?
Yeah. The King Tide.
The King Tide.
It's weird. It sounds, I thought you were going to say it was a different movie whose name I don't recall, but these guys end up on this island, and I'm trying to remember if, like, because I might be confusing a couple of different movies in my head. No, okay, I think this one had like 3 convicts who like shipwreck on this island, and this island has some sort of like almost like a fey creature that the islanders depend on for similar things. Like, she keeps everything growing and healthy and fertile, but they completely keep her isolated and imprisoned so that they can use her.
Right.
And this one guy of the 3 discovers this, and he's set on the like setting her free, and it basically forces all the islanders to have to leave. They have to stop depending on this creature now. They gotta go back to the real world. You
need to give me the name of that movie. I think I need to see that. We're watching Consumed tonight.
I'll see
it's about a Wendigo.
That King Tide sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just put that on my IMDb watch list.
Dude, it's good. Tonight we're watching Consumed, and it's about a Wendigo in the woods. It's like
I like
Wendigo movies these days. Wendigo getting a lot of love as far as
I love the Wendigo. The Wendigo's an awesome. It's one of the few like Native American.
But it's funny because like most people get the Wendigo wrong because they get this whole idea of like this thing running around with deer antlers, but the Wendigo from the Algonquin tradition, is just this scrawny, endlessly ravenous cannibal creature. It's not some sort of deer spirit. It's not H. Lovecraft's Earthwalker. It's none of that. But they've kind of turned it into, like, modern pop culture has turned it into some sort of god.
They romanticized it.
Yeah, just instead of basically kind of like a, an Algonquin kind of werewolf sort of thing. Like you get cursed and you run around eating people.
Yeah, it's not a werewolf.
No. I mean, remember even the Wendigo from the Marvel comics, the one that was in the Hulk, and then in the
that's
X-Men comics. Yeah, it's a guy that's committed the sin of cannibalism and is turned into a monster as a result. Although, of course, the Marvel version is like basically this giant,
it's
white-furred Bigfoot monster.
White furry Bigfoot with a tail that eats people.
Yes.
They created that the go against the Hulk.
And that's his battle cry, like Wendigo.
Yeah.
I actually like the Marvel's version too.
That issue, the very first issue that he appears in of the Hulk, there's a panel in that that's spooky as fuck because Hulk is looking for these missing guys, and the Wendigo's sleeping. And the Wendigo gets up, and it turns out the Wendigo has been sleeping on top of these guys, keeping them pinned so he can eat them later.
Oh man, I never saw those early Herb Trimpe issues.
Oh, so good.
But I'll tell you what got me is like reading the Claremont Byrne X-Men, and when they went up north, they're getting entangled with Alpha Flight, and they end up hunting the Wendigo. And Wolverine comes across the Wendigo, and this mother had been captured by the Wendigo, her and her baby. It basically put them in a cave and then walled them off with a rock, and it ate her husband. And it came back for seconds, and it snatched up the mom. And,
her leg.
And he's got his mitts on either side of her leg.
Yeah, he's ready to take a big fucking.
He's ready to chow down. And as a kid, that friggin' horrified me. Like,
one of my favorite characters.
You're just gonna he's like a bear. He's just gonna start eating you alive.
Exactly. Yeah, that was fucking crazy. Like one of my favorite characters from Alpha Flight was Sasquatch.
Sasquatch
of course. Shit. Yeah. And the way they did him, like he started out as a hero, and then the Sasquatch spirit took over, and he became
that's part of the genius of John Byrne. John Byrne likes to. I know this gets overused these days, but he does like to subvert expectations quite a bit, and I like how he built up the Sasquatch was somebody trying to become a Hulk-like creature, and he thought it was a solar flare in the gamma. That's why I didn't turn green. I ended up orange. Like I averted that whole thing, but that was just like your first little red herring until you find out he's actually one of the great beasts of the North.
Yeah, no, dude, John Byrne. That was why it was so devastating when I realized John Byrne was an asshole.
Yeah,
talent, man, major talent. Although I will say this, his art was never the same when it was not being inked by Terry Austin. That there was something about Terry Austin.
Yeah, he was. John Byrne shouldn't ink his own art.
I'll tell you, as clean as his art is with Terry Austin, I think my favorite time of his art was actually when he was inking himself on Fantastic Four. I loved his art.
Never liked it.
When She-Hulk was standing in for the thing, that was a good run. I'm not going to say that's not. Although I didn't like the way that he wrote Dr. Doom. He kind of like switched up his origin story a little bit, gave him a scarred face. Where of course Jack Kirby revealed what his face actually looks like, and it's a perfectly handsome man with a scar on his cheek.
Yeah.
So he had to play around with that a little bit. I was kind of okay with that, because he was always big on like giving Dr. Doom an ego so huge that he just could not abide anything like that. So most of the time, I really enjoyed the way Byrne wrote Dr. Doom. It made him my favorite Marvel villain.
Well, he was my favorite Marvel character as a kid. Probably in many ways still is, to tell the truth. If I could write any Marvel character, it would be Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom is all about one thing, and that's vanity. And self-confining vanity. It's like the Gothic heroes in the old Gothic novels. It's like they sort of entomb themselves inside a castle. This is a guy that's entombed himself in a fucking suit of iron of armor inside of a fucking castle. So this guy's got multiple fucking buffers against the world.
Dr. Doom's my favorite character, but not because of the way he looks. it's that attitude. You know what I'm saying? Like he's so conceited. You know, I don't even know if it's conceited. Like he's so confident.
The ego is out of control.
You know what I'm saying? Like he's like
the ego's out of control.
Yeah, but is it ego when it actually proves to actually be true? Like Dr. Doom is the shit.
Yes, Doom is actually smarter than him, and that's why Doom hates his guts. Because Doom is just a little less smart than Reed Richards, and he can't.
Is he though? Because Doom actually he beat the Beyonder. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Well,
that's why he hates Reed so much.
There's two things about Doom that really set things up for me. Like, and if like the Brian Hitch were like not Brian Hitch. Well, that's a third thing because his whole roundabout way to defeat the Marquis of Death was just amazing, beyond amazing. Like like beating the Beyonder was nothing compared to how he dealt with the Marquis of Death. He's having to travel through time and do all this stuff to get there. Yeah. But the two of the biggest key moments, which I've kind of accepted the fact that a lot of Marvel from about 2000 forward is not anywhere near where it used to be in like the 80s. It's
garbage.
Not all of it.
I thought it peaked. I thought that the general level of quality, certainly of the writing, had peaked around 2008. I want to say.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few gems that poke through.
In general,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's some of the key things about like Doom. Like one of the, just to show like he's the ultimate anti-hero, is when he goes to confront the cat god Bast, of Wakanda, and he strips off all his armor. He's so sure of himself. He's like, if you want to, meet the cat god. You the Panther God, you have to go with like no weapons, no armor, none of your sorcery. Like, fine, I got this. And he goes in, and the cat God reads his soul, and goes like, you're one of the most despicable human beings I've ever seen, but you're right. It looks like the only way that humanity is ever going to prosper is if you actually are in charge one day. Yes. And the cat god has to recognize that. It's like
yeah. Well, there was that great graphic novel where Doom finally does take over the world, and he turns it into a paradise.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's also gotten rid of free will, and then ultimately he gets bored, right? And I thought that was great. And the way he takes over the world is with the Purple Man, and the Purple Man's like mocking him, saying,
"Oh yeah.
Motherfucker, the only reason why I can't get to you, why I can't mind control you, is because you got that fucking armor on." He's like, "Oh really?" And he takes the armor off, and he's just like, "What the fuck?" He's just like, "I just choose not to submit. I just choose not to let your power affect me." In other words, the master of self-discipline.
And here's the other thing, and it shows that like Reed isn't necessarily smarter than Doom.
I don't think he is. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Doom had ultimate power,
and it works out both ways. Okay, so we're having the incursions. Marvel's basically doing its Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they're wiping out all the extra universes. They're going to end up in Secret Wars 3, which they never called it that, but they just called it Secret Wars. And so what does Doom do? He defeats not just a Beyonder, he defeats all the Beyonders.
All of the Beyonders.
All of the Beyonders. Takes all their power. He becomes God Emperor Doom. Yep. Even Doctor Strange is like, it was kind of like, okay, I'll be the guy to step in front. And then Doctor Strange is like, you know what? No, this is too much for me. I can't be God. Sometimes high quality requires retention. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yes, that's also true. And so when Reed comes out, and Reed, for all of his smarts, couldn't figure out how to save all the universes, how to save the multiverse, but Doom did. But the flip side of that is when Reed makes it out of the exterior of the universe into the Battle World universe, and he contends with Doom, and their fight ends up going into like the chamber that the Molecule Man is kept in. And they're having this big epic throwdown. And Reed is goading Doom. He's digging at his ego because, physically he can't match Doom in his armor and sorcery and all that. So he's getting into his head, and he gets into his ego. He's like, what's the matter, Victor? Are you afraid I would have done this better? And he goes like, yes, damn you, yes. And the Molecule Man says like, okay, let's give it a try your way. And Reed, with the help of his super genius and super reality-wearing children, fixes the universe, the multiverse again, because Doom could save it, but the only way he could think to save it was if he was in charge of everything. Right. And Reed could think broader than that, but he wasn't smart enough to think of how to save what was being destroyed in the first place. His idea was to create like an extra dimensional lifeboat. So
you see that kind of tells me like
I remember that issue.
It was kind of like
it was like the final issues of that whole Secret War.
No, I remember it. But what I'm saying is
better than Secret Wars 1 and 2. That's for damn sure.
Like the way they wrote it and had Reed win at the end was almost like it was like a cop out. You know what I'm saying? Like I kind
of dug it because this is. I mean, like I'm not a huge fan of Bendis, but I did appreciate Doom. The effect this had on him, because with his ego, to admit that there was something he couldn't do was a pivotal moment in his evolution.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where Doom couldn't, like, save the universe, but Reed couldn't figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, the best he could do was a lifeboat, you know? Yeah. But Doom was like, "No, I got this."
I think that's because their personalities. I mean, they're both. I think they're both equally as smart, but the personality plays into it a different way. And Doom just thinks on a grander scale. Reed,
well, of course, because he's a megalomaniac, you know.
But then again, you got to figure like the whole Doom world came about because Doom fucked up. He fucked up the calculations, and that's why.
Reed's just a little bit smarter.
I thought the interesting thing was like even Eternity decided that like Hank Pym was the scientist supreme of the universe and not Reed Richards, because Hank Pym thinks outside the box. He's done things that Reed never considered. Like he's like, you know what, your science, as Eternity explained to Hank, he's like, your science borders on magic, but Reed's is all very within sort of like what you would expect of like the technology and the quantum mechanics and the super science of the day.
Right. But he's also leaping around dimensions and the fucking negative zone.
Yeah,
the Council of Reeds.
It's brilliant.
Council of Reeds.
Did they steal that from Rick and Morty, or did Rick and Morty steal that from Marvel Comics?
I don't think Rick and Morty came up with anything.
I'm serious, like the Council of Ricks. You know what I'm saying? Which came first, the Council of Ricks or the Council of Reeds?
Oh man, that's totally the Council of Kangs. That was before
Kangs.
The Council
Yeah, that's right. Right, King the Conqueror. Mm-hmm. You know, one of my favorite villains for sure, because he was like,
I love, dude. Did you see the story they did about Kang?
Version of himself was like constantly fucking with the younger version of himself.
I was watching one of those Comics Explained, and they did the whole Kang storyline. Dude, that was fucking insane. Like, I never knew Kang was that deep of a character.
And all those iterations of him, the Scarlet Centurion, Rama Tut, you know, like
Iron Lad.
Right, Iron Lad was my favorite, because he'd, constantly be fucking up his plans. And it's like his future self basically going to his younger self. No, dude, you don't want to do this. Trust me, it's a bad idea. I'm going to stop you. So he was literally fighting himself.
That tells me like Marvel does have good writers. They just won't let them use their, they.
Immortus is another Kang.
Yeah.
But that's because it's not about the comics anymore. It's not even about the comics a little bit anymore. It's about it's about the fucking ESG score.
Exactly.
It took him forever in comics, because I didn't like Kang as a villain for a very long time. Like in the 70s and the early 80s, he wasn't the hoot. But they finally started figuring him out in the mid to late 80s and into the 90s. And I was glad to see when they were doing the animated Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they made Kang a featured villain. And like, this was the Kang we were always meant to have. That Kang was awesome.
James says the best Marvel villain is Barracuda. Burke is an irredeemable psychopath who murders people and children. He is a great villain for Punisher. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
The best Marvel villain is without a doubt Dr. Bong.
Dr. Bong, of course. Remember him.
Dr. Bong. Because who else can contend with Howard the Duck?
Now, tonight's movie is Crippled Avengers. Bracey, have you seen this?
I just watched it before I popped in.
Oh, you did? Okay. Because talking about villains, one of the things I love about this movie is how it really mind-fucked me the first time I saw it, which was when I was a kid. On Saturday afternoons, Channel 5 would show Kung Fu Theater, and then they would show like a Hammer horror movie, usually like a Christopher Lee, Dracula.
Yeah. I remember that. I used to love that, dude. Like,
yeah, man.
Great.
Right? And so
like
when I saw this, it's like when you see the beginning of the movie, right, where you've got this guy who is not at home and isn't there to protect his family when his family needs him. These guys come in, they're looking for Black Tiger Dao, right, who's played by the great Shen Quan Tai. And they're like, well, he's not here right now, but his wife and his kid are here. And so they're like, well, what should we do? Well, should we kill him? Nah, if we do, there's like this like guy that's a real badass and will probably come and kill us. Let's just fucking cut off their legs and hands. Okay.
Because that never kills anybody.
Because that's so much better. They're not going to come after you for that.
Right. So they cut off they cut off the mother's legs, and she dies of shock, right? And they cut off the boy's hands. And Shen Quan Tai shows up, and Black Tiger Dao is his character. He shows up, and he kills these motherfuckers, and he makes a promise to his son. He's like, look, like, this isn't the end of the world. It's going to be okay. I'm going to like build you a set of new hands. We're going to get like the best craftsmen possible. We're going to get you these new hands. He's made out of iron, right? And I'm going to teach you how, like, my martial arts, and the combination of that will make you absolutely invincible, right? So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, oh, well, here's our hero.
Yeah.
Right?
What a turnaround.
And then we jump into the future and we see that, sure enough, he's got these iron gauntlets, these hands.
But he's a villain.
And his father's like taught him how to, he's put secret weapons in there and everything, things you fucking shoot darts. And then he's like, oh, like, remember those guys that cut your hands off and murdered your mother? Yeah, well, the guys I killed? Yeah, well, I got their kids. Their kids have grown up now. And so, it wouldn't be right for you to kill them, but how about you cripple them? Which he does. And I remember as a kid watching this, and it left such a strong impression on me. I was like, oh my God. These guys aren't the good guys. They're the villains.
That was a shock because I had never seen this particular Kung Fu movie before.
Oh.
And I was watching the dub version, so I know I wasn't getting like the real depth of the story.
That's fine.
I wasn't reading the subtitles, but like I've seen enough of these movies with and without subtitles to read the subtext of it, and I was like, "What the hell?" Because I'm figuring he's the crippled Avenger, right?
Yeah,
and he's going to find a couple more crippled guys. I will say exactly. I was slightly disappointed in the fact that I was hoping it was one of those crippled kung fu movies where they actually had like limbless dudes doing kung fu.
Oh, that's you're thinking of
the bomb digging.
Oh yeah, that would have been badass. Like I thought this was when Brian. I never ever thought of this as a follow up to the 5 Deadly Venoms, right?
Well, it's not.
You told me this was a sequel to the 5 Deadly Venoms.
Well, that's the weird thing. What I'm watching is I look it up. Is like the Crippled Avengers, right? But when the title cards are coming up, it says Return of the 5 Venoms or Return of the Venoms, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's a lie.
So they tried to market it as
the
5 Deadly Venoms 2 or something like that, right?
Because it has the same cast.
Yeah.
And the cast in this is fantastic. I mean, first of all, you've got Shen Quan Tai. That's the guy on the left.
Well, these guys were in every one of the Shaw movies, right? I mean,
not every one of the Shaw movies, but the Venom Mob here. You know what? Let me run a really quick video that will explain this probably a lot more eloquently than I can. Who the Venom Mob were. and how many movies they made together. Now, out of the Venom Mob movies, they made about 5 or 6, I think, right? I think it was 5. Okay. Over like a period of like 10 years or something like that. But they made a bunch of movies together. And out of all of those films, I think this is the best. That this is better than 5 Deadly Venoms. It's better than any of the other Venom Mob movies too. Oh yeah, here's my boy Matt. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Matt?
Guys? How's it going?
Good to see you,
what's
man.
Cracking? You too, man.
What's cracking like? We're just talking about Crippled Avengers. Did you watch it? Did you see it? Did you like it?
Yeah.
Like one thing I didn't know, Matt, was that after Brian seen this movie, he tried to chop his hands off. It was the craziest fucking thing ever. It was nuts.
Take it
yeah, it's kind of hard to do both, though, right? I could chop one off, but then what am I going to chop the other one off?
Chop your foot off. Like that way you'll be like the crippled.
Oh, well,
you have one hand
have the
and one foot.
Like, you know, he's like, it worked for the which the Wu-Tang Clan did this movie, except like the Iron Hand, this guy was a hero.
Yeah,
that was good. I like that
Man
movie.
with the Iron Fists.
Cool. Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like that movie a bit, way better.
Yeah,
exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it is.
I'm like, are they gonna make
so cool with the knives?
Well, the martial arts skill that you see from the Venom Mob and Shen Quan Tai in this is phenomenal. But especially, there are 2 members of the Venom Mob that were especially talented, and that was Chang Cheh, who was like the most. The ladies loved him, right? He was known as Cutie Pie. That was that's the name that the ladies had for this cat, right? They're all about him. And
well, he's extraordinarily acrobatic, that's for sure.
Oh my fucking God! You know, I mean, I've seen this movie many times, and watching it last night, my jaw still fucking hit the floor.
Dude, those guys are badass.
That these guys could do, but specifically him, Chang Cheh, and it was not Lo Mang, fucking Sun Qian. Sun Qian. He's the guy who has his legs cut off, right?
Yeah, that guy's got legit kicks. Kicks.
Super legit leg fighter, right? And that's what he was famous for. He was famous for being a leg fighter. But the 2 of them were actually, I mean, for one thing, they all came out of the Peking Opera, right? And
okay.
I've talked about this before. Jackie Chan, in his biography, says that the training that they got in the Peking Opera today would be considered felony child abuse.
Oh, definitely.
And now the Peking Opera still exists, and he says they've gotten rid of all that fucking brutal savage shit.
And
but
it's
they're
not as good
as we were. He's like they're really talented, but they're not as good as we were.
The torturous training you see Jackie Chan go through in those early movies are exactly what he went through in the Peking Opera. He talks about it's either him or Sano. About one time they had to do a handstand on a stool for an hour. You know, like the tears and the snot and the saliva and everything until basically they collapsed after an hour. And like, okay, you can go rest now.
Yeah,
they just had him doing that to muscle failure.
But these guys were also trained not just in martial arts; they were taught in theater, right? So they were taught how to like they would do like an hour of martial arts or physical conditioning, then like an hour of acting class, and then an hour of music, right? Singing, that sort of a thing. They were trained to be these kind of ultimate performers. Mm-hmm. Now, when you understand the Peking Opera, you understand these movies. You understand why they're not meant to be realistic, right? Because people would always joke when I was a kid. They're like, oh, it's like, the punches, it sounds like boards are breaking and that these guys can do these incredible superhuman feats and everything. I'm like, you have to understand, these are not normal human beings. These are heroes.
Yeah, but I prefer these movies over any Chuck Norris movie. I just thought it was way better. And plus, every one of them had Wolverine sideburns. You know what I'm saying?
Glued
I
on
love
and
how I love how all the bad guys and the good guys all have widow's peaks.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Oh yeah, and a lot
Little
of like
little
black
Dracula too.
capes with red lining.
Yeah.
Now this is a really interesting thing that you see in Chinese cinema from this period. When an actor would make his first appearance on screen, you see like the kanji on the left, right? The title is there.
Title
That's
for the
his
character,
name.
right? I was about to say that. It's probably the
Right?
title
So
card
it
for the
says
character.
Song Qian.
Yeah,
So it's like when the actor appears, you suddenly there's
hey
their
Brian,
name.
you should put that in your book, man. The one you and Preston are doing, like when a new character comes up, you should like.
That's a good idea. I like that.
No, we got to do that.
Like you guys,
Marvel Comics.
Brian and Preston about this.
Only
like,
when he's in Hong Kong, though. Only when he's in Hong Kong.
No. That's a great idea, dude. I've been watching a Basilisk series, right?
Oh,
like
boy.
the first, and like every time they have a character come on, they did that. Like in the
Yeah, the
first
name.
one, then it was, dude, it was fucking. It's like I can't read it because it's in Chinese, but
Yeah, I think it's
Also,
cool.
watch the anime.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The anime.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Why, they got a live
The
action?
live action movie is called
I got
Shinobi.
dubbed anime.
Actually.
Shinobi.
Really? They
Yeah,
got a live
Shinobi
action
Heart
Basilisk?
Under Blade.
Yeah.
Is the
Basilisk?
title.
Shinobi?
Yeah. They made a Basilisk movie called Shinobi Heart Under
Is
Blade.
it dubbed?
I'm sure, but either way, you're going to be really disappointed. Because
screw that, dude.
It does not live up to the.
So it doesn't have like the fantasy ninja shit happening there or anything like that. Like,
well, it has the guy whose body can automatically mend because he has like these parasites, these worms in his body.
yeah, that's only
that, dude. But it
that's
doesn't
a very
have, like,
small part.
the freaks, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a very small part to the whole Basilisk series.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. Yeah, and it's not a bad movie, but I'm saying, prepare to be underwhelmed if you're going into that after seeing the animated series.
And what was it called again? Shinobi what?
Shinobi Heart Under Blade. Yeah, it's basically a Japanese version of a Chinese wuxia. Wuxia is a subgenre that's basically swords and sorcery and some kind of tragic romance.
That's dope.
Dude, it was great.
They're always love stories.
I love that, and I like what this story is. It's just like a real it's just really fun. Like you're comparing it to the Norse movies. They're really like fantastical. You could tell they probably infused some like lore and some folklore into the story, and they seem magical, really. And then, obviously they're done on a set. And I was gonna say too about like the title card for a character. It's kind of comic booky too in a way. No, like you're reading a comic book, and then, Captain America pops up and it says his logo on there.
They were doing that for a while in the early aughts in Marvel, for instance. Like I said, like Carol Danvers, like energy absorption, flight, and vulnerability, stuff like that, to give kind of like an intro.
DC was doing that too in the Justice Society.
Yeah, no, I mean it's cool. I do it in my books,
and they'd have a logo. It wouldn't be
just
the logo. The logo.
I do that.
The logo is always cooler. I like it better when they do the logo, so you get that.
And you have the tagline, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the son with the iron fists. When I initially watched, when I was first watching this movie, it seemed to me the opening kung fu sequences were rather underwhelming.
Yes.
And then when he goes to cripple the sons of the Tiger Clan, again, that fight, I was like, okay, maybe this guy doesn't know any kung fu at all, and they're just trying to train him up for the movie. But by the time we get to the end of the movie and the climax, like about midway through the movie, the level of kung fu skill gets infinitely better. I'm like,
you think?
Yeah. So I'm like, what happened at the first of this movie? Do you know?
They were saving it, is what they were doing, right? And also the people that he's fighting, it's not even really a fight, right?
No, it's not. But I guess I'm used to other movies where like the bad guy,
yes,
he doesn't have to use all of his power, but you still, I mean.
Well, this is a very unusual.
It seemed way too static, way too slow, even for him to be contemptuously beating somebody.
But I'm with you. I kind of want to see like real crippled.
Because even like
doing martial arts.
Scene, when the three guys come into the house, and Tiger Chin isn't home, and they're all the house guards come running up, and and like, oh, this fighting is kind of boring. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this movie.
He kills them all with one punch because basically,
not those guys. Like when the three guys are coming in, you know, the one's got the 9 rings broadsword and so on and so forth. What? And the funniest thing is, one of the house guards is fighting with a paper lantern. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, he's like, you know, a little comic relief.
Yeah, I was like, what?
The director of this movie, Chang Cheh, was the greatest of the old school martial arts movie directors. And he made a ton of these movies, right? Shaw Brothers was like a factory in the sense that they were churning these movies out, and nobody turned out more of these movies than Chang Cheh. And he was a great filmmaker. And so as a filmmaker, what is he doing? He's trying to move the story forward, right? So you don't need to see an elaborate fight scene here. What you want to do is you want to get on with it.
It didn't have to be elaborate. If these guys are going to dominate, just let them dominate. But it really, compared to the rest of the film, these first 2 set pieces,
you're building up.
Set pieces were like really, really hokey. I was really disappointed to start with.
Right.
And it's really only when the babyface guy you talked about comes in, ends up getting he becomes the idiot. I was like, oh, okay. We're up to the standard now. Like, this is exciting. This is fun.
Well, I mean, it's like first you get hit with this cruelty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that and this is the thing that struck me so much when I was a kid, right? We're talking about heroes and villains, right? And so many heroes, especially superheroes, you look at their origin stories and you think to yourself, that guy could just as easily been a villain, right?
Right.
Because there are people that are responding to trauma. And, you know, one person's going to take that trauma in and go, this is terrible. This is so fucking horrible. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I'm going through right now. I don't want anyone to have to experience.
Then there's other guys who are like, Batman. I went through it, so every motherfucker's going to go through it.
I want everyone to hurt like I hurt. I want
exactly.
And so he and his son go around and they're just fucking crippling people for no fucking
Batman could have
reason.
easily been the Punisher, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Right. It's a difference between the hero and the villain. And like I said, at the beginning of this movie, you think that these guys are going to be the heroes, and they end up being the villains.
And I kind of wish
clever.
It was a real shock, but there's a part of me that wishes that we could have seen some of that. But I'm like you; it makes for a great shock moment, because I was like, okay, the Crippled Avengers,
powerful too, right? Because I mean, we've all known people like this. Right? We've all known people like this. Some of us have dated people like this, right?
Some of us married people like
this. Right? People that are like, oh, well, I got hurt, so now I'm going to go out and hurt other people.
Yeah.
Right? We've all known that. And that's why this resonates so much. It's like those people might not be going around crippling people, right?
Well,
they're
it's debatable.
Hurting people. Because they want other people to hurt like they hurt. If I have to feel this, I want as many motherfuckers as possible to feel this way too. You know, completely fucking selfish and sadistic. You know,
there's I don't remember the name of this film either. God knows, I've seen way too many movies. But you can find it via this. It's a film where Leonard Nimoy is in the cast as a supporting cast member, but it revolves around this really messed up love story between a man and a woman who are going to be together. He goes off to war. He's caught in a bomb blast. He gets castrated, so now they can never be together. And the woman, even though she loves him, she compensates by just becoming this total floozy who just chews up.
Hemingway story. That's that. The Sun Also Rises.
Is that it? Because like she chews up men, she spits them out.
Yep.
And then like Nimoy's character keeps saying like he was an assassin for his government. Is that the story? Or is that something they made up from?
No, it's not. So it's somebody basically that I guess did like an espionage version of The Sun Also Rises.
Well, it's only that one character because like her latest conquest is this Matador, and of course she ruins.
Oh yeah, that's The Sun Also Rises. Absolutely.
Okay, because after she ruins him, like she falls back on the man that she was supposed to be with. Like you're always there to pick up the pieces. And like it's one of the most tragic damn things I've ever
seen. That book is heartbreaking.
That's what she does with her pain, is she just inflicts it on other people.
Yep. Absolutely.
I know that's like a psychological thing, and it's kind of normal for people to go through shit like that. But I don't know, dude. I always seen that as being a very selfish. Like
it is selfish.
You know what I'm saying? Extremely selfish.
Yeah, it's evil, is what it is.
Yeah.
Evil.
And I've known so many people that were like mainly women that are like that.
Mainly women.
Honest, like. I mean, I knew a few guys that were, I mean, they had some really fucked up shit going on in their head because they were raped when they were kids and shit like that, but it was, and those motherfuckers were so fucking cruel, you know what I mean? We've talking kill puppies type of cruel.
Oh, Jesus.
But that's also the same sort of thing, that cycle of violence, like, especially if it's inflicted on a child, it's hard for them to break out.
Honestly, I went through it. And I've admitted this many times, like because I was abused as a kid, I forwarded that abuse onto my brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like if I was getting beat up, by my dad, like guess who's getting beat up next? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
but you were a child.
Yeah,
you know
I was
a
kid.
Yeah. These are grown ass men that are going around.
When I became a teenager, like something clicked in me. I was like, this isn't right. You know what I'm saying? Like. I got to change, and there was only one way to change, and that's meditation and doing a deep dive.
Yup. You have to get to the source of the pain.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you're ever going to get better. That's the way therapy works too, is you have to get to the root of the pain.
Yeah, Freud was all about that, finding the source.
Yes.
It's not easy. Like it's an extremely hard thing to do.
It's a difficult thing to do, and it's a painful thing to do. But afterwards, you experience the benefits. It lifts a weight off your soul. That would be the best.
Too bad our heroes turned villains didn't have a sage therapist in their lives.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, ultimately, it's Shen Guan Tai's character, right? Because he's the one that instructed his son, so his son is just taking after him.
Yeah,
right.
And so then, Sun Qian shows up as Wang Yi, I think is the name of the character, who is a hero, right?
Yeah.
That is to say, he's a guy that goes around, because a lot of these stories are based on old novels, pulp novels that were written in the, in like the 1920s, some of them.
Oh, yeah, just like
Hidden Dragon is based on an old pulp novel, and he shows up and he sees what's going on, and he's just like, "Don't worry, man, I'm gonna fucking avenge you." Like he says here, "I'll remove the evil that's here." Mm-hmm. And then he goes, and then of course gets his ass whipped, and they give him a fucking traumatic brain injury that makes him behave like a
child. Like
and. I gotta say, man, my favorite performance in this is fucking Lo Mang. He does shit with his face in this. That's fucking hilarious.
Okay. Let me ask you this: if anybody else picked up on this, when I'm watching him, not so much when he's doing this, I can't stand this irritating child man beside me.
Yeah.
But a lot.
Shit, I was waiting for him to pop some claws.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of his facial expressions, especially when he's being like overconfident and arrogant, remind me very much of the aspect Bruce Lee would take on in his film roles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, remember,
Japanese tough guy.
Yeah, and this is of course before Bruce Lee really blew up.
So maybe Bruce Lee took it from him.
Could be.
That's entirely Well, I mean, you have to understand. It's like once again, Peking opera. It's an acting style.
Yeah.
Right. And so it can be a little bit broader, right? Like I love this scene where this cat shows up, right? Who's Shen Guan Tai's
this was a great moment.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I like this part. One of my favorites.
Amazing fucking scene. And he's just like, yeah, you can take 3 shots, 3 punches, 3 kicks. Give me your best, right? And he just shakes them off, and Lo Mang, like after when he hits him the 3rd time, he like winds up. He goes,
totally Popeyes that.
Yes, yeah. It's a really good comic performance. Not that it's not also dramatic, but like look at the faces he's making here. He's just like, what the fuck?
Did you want a morgue file? This movie is perfect for your morgue file. I'm just saying, like for like classic Japanese like facials, like the way they looked in this movie was fucking amazing, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like their costumes,
and that's Chinese.
The hair, like all of that, everything.
Oh well, I mean, that's the thing about the Shaw Brothers movies. They were always A tier productions, right? Didn't pay very much if you were one of these cats. They didn't make a lot of money. They didn't pay that well.
But they became legends.
Absolutely. And guys like Jackie Chan was in the class after this, right? So around this time, he and Sammo Hung and Yuen Biao, they would be hanging out like on the set, waiting to see if they needed somebody like as a goon. Right?
Yeah, background goon.
Exactly. That can go flying through like a window or something like that, right?
What you need, I got you.
And those dudes are crazy motherfuckers.
Swiss Army goon.
Right. And naturally the Kung Fu movie villain always rolls deep. Deep. Goon Squad.
There's rarely the one-on-one honorable fight. The goon always comes in with an army.
Yeah,
that guy always comes in with his goon squad, right?
Why are you always cheating?
Well, look, and this is also very much a reflection of real life, right? What do motherfuckers like this do? They don't come at you one-on-one. They send their posse against you. Is what they do. So you're not going to be tangling with me. You're going to be tangling with like 30, 40 other motherfuckers, right? And naturally, they're also cannon fodder. Well, for the heroes to fucking beat the living shit out of.
Something else that was unusual for this film. So, like, when his Major Dormo started to encounter these guys after they've learned some kung fu, and he tries them out, and he finds out he can't take them out quickly and easily. He just calls off like, all right, man, let's go back home. Yeah. Like, I got to formulate a new plan. Yep. I was like, tactics. I don't think I've ever seen that in a Kung Fu movie before. Yeah. Where, like, the guys didn't flee. He just called it off. Was like, all right, we're done for now. We'll be back to kill you later.
Right. Once we figured out, like, how to deal with you. And then, of course, they have, like, these really clever, elaborate traps, right? With the drums and with
the drums, the mirrors.
Cool. Right? He's like, clever shit, right? Because it's just like these guys are superheroes now. Well, what's their kryptonite, right? Because they're crippled, they're handicapped, so naturally they have a weakness. But that's one of the themes. It's like the whole crippled Avenger thing. It's not a gimmick, right? One of the greatest stories in Kung Fu cinema is the story of the one-armed swordsman, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of one-armed swordsman movies.
Oh, the blind swordsman too. Like that's another.
Well, that's Satoichi.
We had a crossover for the Japanese and the Chinese.
Yes,
like
Satoichi meets the one-armed swordsman. Yeah, with
that was really cool.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, awesome Japanese Chinese cross-cultural thing, which in the late 60s, early 70s, I mean, needless to say, there's a lot of bad blood between the Chinese and the Japanese. So seeing cross-cultural shit like that is awesome. And of course, it's just it was just cool just seeing a kung fu movie character, an actor, just suddenly walk into a Japanese samurai movie.
Yeah.
right? Like that's what we're going to do with the Street Fighter, except it's going to be the other way around. It's going to open up in a Japanese karate movie, and then Tsurugi's going to go to Hong Kong, and then it's going to turn into like a Hong Kong action film. Let me roll the trailer for this real quick. This is the original trailer, by the way, because there's a new trailer that's cool, but I just like these old ones.
I like the old ones too.
Shaw Brothers, motherfuckers.
All scope.
Yup. There you see it. Stars of 5 Venoms are physically handicapped.
Oh, it's love.
Now, of course, we're used to seeing blindness used as like a superpower, right? That's what I loved about. You remember the movie, Matt, that we did, Blind Man, for the Western Jamboree, and that
the Blind Fury with
Blind Fury. But in Blind Fury, it's also like a superpower.
Oh,
right?
what about Don't Breathe? That's a great couple of films.
I didn't see the second one yet, but that first one, man, he's so good.
Second one's dope too.
Daredevil for sure.
Daredevil, of course. But yeah, like in Blind Man, what's great about that is that it's not a superpower. It's just a mask. It's a handicap. It's a pain in the ass that he has to kind of find workarounds for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scene where you really start to get your mind blown. Evidently, these two would actually. I
love how this foreshadowed the end, and I wasn't expecting it to foreshadow to work out into the end of the movie.
Right? I'm telling you, this is just a beautifully constructed film.
When I was a kid, they had these guys on Entertainment Tonight or some shit like that. And they were showing them practice in their dojo.
Yeah.
And dude, it was badass.
Hardcore,
that's when I decided I was going to be a ninja when I grew up.
I'm sorry?
So that's when I decided I was going to be a ninja when I grew up. Right after I became Superman. I had a very...
Super ninja. That's amazing. Just put this in the trailer, man. That gives away amazing stuff.
Oh yeah, that's of course. You got to get into the cliches in this movie, right? Here's the thing: in the Chopsaki universe, as I like to call it, if somebody takes like a telephone pole and stabs you through the midsection and impales you on a telephone pole, you can, assuming the telephone pole is no longer there, you got about 5 minutes to live. Right. So what do? You take off like your shirt, whatever you're wearing on your chest, and you turn around your midsection and you go, and you jump right back into the fucking fight.
Yeah, right. Or you electrocute him with it. Like there's still electricity in it, and going, shoot like an electric ball at him, like Hadouken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how they like our modern anime and stuff. They explain like, he managed to twist, so I didn't hit his vital point. It's like, yeah, but he's got a precise hole going from one side to the other.
Yep. Now, I am not bad with a Joe staff. I can't do anything near what this dude is doing.
He's dancing right there.
Unbelievable. And so these guys weren't really trained as fighters. But would you want to fuck with any of them? Right?
No.
They've got that training and they've got that conditioning.
Exactly.
And Jackie Chan would say, of course, they wanted to know, like, could I really throw down? And so they would go out and, like, get into trouble and make people want to fight them. And then, like, okay. And Jackie Chan had a funny story about, like, after one of his street brawls, having to go to the hospital because his fist swelled up afterward. And he said, like, oh, you could see, like, the bone, right? And what happened was, it was bone. It wasn't his bone. The guy went to the doctor
and his tooth in
a human tooth.
Wow.
That's why his fist swelled up.
Awesome.
It's swelled up because of all the bacteria on the tooth.
No shit, man. Yeah, no, he needed a tetanus shot for that one, I would think.
Oh, dude, when I was in the military, I was in a medical support unit, right?
Yeah.
And so we had this whole catalog. We learned how to treat all kinds of things, sucking chest wounds, stuff like that. And we had a catalog of soft tissue damage. And some of the gnarly, well, there's lots of gnarly stuff, but like some of the gnarliest things were like, they would get what you call a fight bite, where you'd hit somebody in the mouth and like penetrated your flesh. I'd seen where like a dude had to have his whole arm laid open because his whole swelled up like a sausage, and they had to relieve pressure.
Oh my God!
But that gland to your arm would swell up because you got like poisoning from the fucking bacteria.
Yeah, you're getting sepsis from somebody's teeth. Don't
dude.
It's a petri dish. The mouth is like filled.
You're right. There are rules. One of the things was I learned this from a biker who used to go collect money from for his gang. He said 2 rules: don't hit a motherfucker in the mouth when you kick a door. Well, 3 rules: when you kick a door in. Well, when you knock on a door of somebody you collect the money from, always do it from the side. He said one of his buddies got shot with a shotgun, like fucking blew a hole in his ass. And he said 3, if you're using a baseball bat, never hit the motherfucker in the head because his head will crack like a watermelon.
Or it will smush. 2 things can happen. His head can crack or it can smush.
He said the motherfucker explodes like a watermelon. He's like, just like hitting a watermelon.
Like
you can't collect the money if their heads turn into a pinata.
What if you collect a murder rat?
Mad crazy skills.
I like those swords. The broadsword.
Yeah, the swords, right? Those are known as Dao swords. The straight sword is the Tai Chi sword.
Didn't they say like those bow guys, the ones that use the bow staff? Like I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about like ancient China or Japan.
Yeah.
Like they would spin those staffs so fast that they could deflect arrows. Like it was.
I don't know about that, but I know that there's a guy alive now that can cut a arrow out of the air.
That dude can cut BBs shot from an air rifle.
Yes.
I've seen him do it. It's like ridiculous. Like, so he can't even see what he's cutting. His mind is just going like, okay, it's pointed here. As soon as I hear it go, as soon as I hear like poof, I'm already in motion.
Yep.
And he's cutting
all the reflexes.
BBs. Jeez.
Yes. And that guy probably isn't half as good as some of those, people like Miyamoto Musashi, of course, is the most famous.
The dudes from Legend,
Yeah, those guys sitting out there in the field waiting for the wind to blow cherry blossoms off the trees, and they'd practice cutting.
I remember watching Ripley's Believe It or Not, and they had this Japanese dude, and he said he was a spy for his government, right?
Yeah.
And he could throw anything, and it would pierce stuff, like fucking toothpicks, cards, whatever. He would. It was like crazy.
Bullseye kind of.
I don't know.
It was nuts.
There's this guy on YouTube, and he's got like bangs down into his eyes, but I've seen him throw chopsticks, cards, just all kinds of crazy things through stuff, and it's like, okay, that would legitimately hurt you.
Exactly, you like
tremendous amount of force too.
You're thinking to yourself like that's just not possible. And this motherfucker's taking a deck of cards and popping balloons like 20 feet away, dude. And you're like, what the fuck?
The one that really blew my mind, there's a movie called Executioners from Shaolin, right? Great movie, one of the ones that we should probably cover on here one of these days. But there's a scene in that where it's like they're going after the villain's nuts, right? And he can pull his nuts up into his body, right? And I thought that was of course, that's just like some wacky bullshit. No,
it's not. It's for real.
It's for real. I saw this guy, that was in a documentary about Kung Fu, and he's just like telling the guy, like, yeah, okay, right, kick me now between the legs. Boom, harder, boom, harder, boom, harder, boom, harder, boom, 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 boom. Right? And then he says, give me your fingers if you're not too squeamish, right? And he takes his fingers to his nut sack, and he's just like, oh, there's nothing there. Yeah, he can just suck his nuts up into his body. Yeah.
Now,
so a lot of the wacky shit that you see in these movies has its basis in truth.
There's a couple of drawbacks to that. One, like, you definitely don't want to keep your nuts up in your bod for too long because your nuts are in your sack, so it doesn't kill your sperm. They can't deal with 98.6 degrees, right?
Right. It's all about
Secondly, that dude keeping, and I guess he factors in, like, nobody wants to kick you as hard as they actually can, because if you get some guys who's like, all right, like the guy who killed Houdini with the gut punch.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you right now.
Wrong dude, you tell him to kick you in the nuts as hard as you can. Like, my
but
nuts
he was
are
ready.
inside my pelvic.
Dude,
I'm
telling you right now. If I was one of those ninjas from like Ninja Scroll or something like that, and I had a superpower, mine would be my nutsack. I would just, throw them at people, let them smack them in the face.
Like
nunchucks and shit. Like,
it'd be sweet, dude. It'd be like a bolo, you throw it at people.
Yeah, it has some brass balls so it doesn't hurt you too.
That would be my ninja name. Would be Brass Balls.
Or in the temple with that shit.
Or Nutchuck. You call yourself Nutchuck.
Exactly, Nutchuck. My training would be I'd be like the praying hands doing a full split on some bricks. You know what I'm saying? And I'd have weights like pulling my nuts down.
Oh, dude,
because I'd have to train them.
That's a comic book thing right now. Because like, if you've seen the guys like tie weights to their junk, these monks who do stuff like, now imagine somebody using his bolo nuts to like swing like Tarzan through.
Yeah, but they would stretch too. So if somebody's 20 feet away, you'd swing it and it'd smack him in the face and come back to you.
That could have been one of the crippled.
Get over here!
Could have had like
get over here!
Elephantitis, with some big ass iron balls. That would have been a good villain, like the sequel to this.
It's like in Blalock, like the first season of Basilisk, right? Where the dude was just like really hairy and the chick was trying to come on to him. So she goes to grab for his junk, but he's so hairy, like his junk is buried in
like a werewolf.
Yeah, dude, you got to see it. Like it's the nuttiest thing ever.
It's amazing. Yeah. Well, first you got to watch Vinland Saga because we know you're about the Viking shit, and that's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, Vinland Saga is
amazing. But Basilisk, I think it's only Basilisk is I think like 10 episodes, 12 episodes. It's pretty
24 episodes in both series. Like the first series is 24 episodes, the second series is 24.
Was it that long? Wow.
Yeah, the second series is like I didn't know what to expect from the second series, right? Because everybody dies in the first.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the second series is actually really, really cool. Like everybody's got a bunch of different type of. The only powers that they kept from the first series was the eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because that was that was the most OP power in the whole thing. Like that dude.
Yeah.
Dominating everybody.
For real.
It was awesome though, dude. Like both of them. I mean, I was like it's one of those series where at the end you like have this deep sorrow because you're like, God, this is over with. Like there's no more. You know what I'm saying? Like. I'm serious. Like
there was a second series because the first series everybody pretty much died, and you're like, oh, okay, this is Romeo and Juliet. This is totally a big tragedy. Everybody's
the thing with the second series versus the first, right? The first series, like I think the ninjas got killed off way too quickly, so you never really got like any type of emotional attachment to them. But in the second series, you go through from when they're kids to when they're adults.
Oh,
and you get attached to each one of them, and as they die, because nobody makes it out of it alive, Basilisk, right?
Yeah.
Like as they die, like you're like, no, don't kill that one.
Yeah,
but
which is good writing, you know.
It is like it's one of
that's what great writing is.
I never knew there was a series out there like Ninja Scroll. You know what I'm saying? Because Ninja Scroll is like top tier, right?
Yeah, it is.
I think it's even above Akira. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it is.
Yeah, but Basilisk, dude, it's like the greatest follow up ever. You know.
Well, I love that.
I've only seen the first one, so I'm definitely gonna be all over that shit.
Well, one of the cool things about Ninja Scroll is like, you know, all these people who develop these supernatural martial arts powers. You know, like one guy is literally a high for bees, the other guy's key is electric. But that's
Basilisk. Like that's all in Basilisk.
Like yeah, I know that. But like, there's two guys. There's two guys in Ninja Scroll. I'm talking about the movie, not the series. We're like the only two guys who don't really have superpowers ended up becoming my favorites. One because his name is Jingen, right?
Jubei.
Jubei.
Yeah, Jubei,
he's just a flat out amazing swordsman.
Yeah.
And the only guy who was going to kill him was the blind guy. So like he doesn't even have superpower. He's just like developed, you know,
Yeah. He's like a crippled.
Yeah, and he didn't kill Jubei just by a fluke of luck that sword was stuck in the bamboo. Otherwise, he had Jubei cold.
Yeah, that dude was badass.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that entire series again. So
I never seen the series. I just seen the movie. Like, was the series any good? Or?
The Ninja Scroll series. It's good. It's not. Don't expect the movie. Don't expect
Basilisk out of Ninja Scroll.
No. The
Ninja Scroll.
If you want to see a really good movie by the guy who did Ninja Scroll, it's actually the Highlander anime. That
was great. That was freaking great.
Awesome. A really
I love. There's an immortal in there who's using a giant chainsaw to take heads, man.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
Oh, I gotta see that. I never knew it was like that. I thought it was just like a
gnarly.
Like
like gnarly gore. Like he gets cut in half, and of course, you know, you're seeing his body fucking split,
flop over.
Right?
Because they basically set it in a world that's kind of like Fist of the North Star. It's post-apocalyptic, and the immortal run around, and the main immortal bad guy is this Roman centurion who is a complete and total boss, man. He is so awesome.
Dope.
Yeah, and it has an interesting plot where it's basically saying that Rome never died. That Rome never dies, it just moves around. It changes places, right?
Oh, that's fucking
history,
amazing.
He's a Roman centurion. Then he's like an SS member, right? He's with the Nazis in World War II. That basically, he's in the Napoleonic Wars. That Rome just kind of that it's an idea.
Yeah, wherever this dude goes, he reinvents Rome.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've seen something with that before.
It's so good.
I'm gonna have to check it out. I never knew it was like that. I thought they just did it.
Oh no!
I seen the X-Men anime. You know, and I wasn't impressed with it at all.
It was the Blade anime, on the other hand, is fantastic.
Oh, really?
Fucking great.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
As well, good luck finding it. It's.
I have my ways.
I know we all do. We stay on the 7 seas.
matey.
I'll find it.
Did you guys get the Dracula book by Kelly Jones and
I got it. Oh wait, hold on 1 second.
I was reading it right now before the stream. I got to the last couple pages. It's really good. It's very comic booky, but very Vlad the Impaler. I'm gonna finish it after the stream. Very
I wasn't able to
Argento with the colors and shit.
I sadly wasn't able to back that campaign, but I'm hope to pick it. I hope I can pick it up when he does the next campaign with the next chapter. Because
they're doing 4 of them. Yeah, so
it was a really, really good haul this week for
incoming.
Because Kelly Jones on anything gothic is just chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Honestly, I never took the Dracula book out of the plastic yet.
You got the Wagner
I haven't had a chance. I did because I was like, I'm a huge Wagner fan.
I got that one too.
Mage.
So No Future came in. You know? And I didn't know, but it also came with a patch and a challenge coin for no future.
Nice.
And yeah, dude, like I don't have it here, but I also got that heavy metal-esque book from Indonesia. It's fucking, what was that? Autorama or something like that. It's about cyborgs and it's real heavy metal based. The thing that pissed me off about that, and I went to their campaign page and I bitched about it. Like they mailed this thing off from Thailand or Indonesia, wherever it was, in a paper envelope to the US.
Oh.
What?
And
whoa,
I was so pissed off because when I got it, the post office had to tape the envelope back together and fucking put it in a bag and says damaged item like arrived this way. And I was like, dude, and I was pissed because I paid, shipping was not cheap. It was $22 for shipping on this book.
Indonesia?
Yeah, it was fucking insane, dude. Like it was. And the book itself was also like $20. So I spent like almost $50. I did. I spent a little over $50, right? And I was like, so I was pissed, dude. And I'm like, these motherfuckers. So I went on their page and I was like, on their campaign, I was like, dude, I was like, you know what? The writing's amazing, the art's amazing. Too bad the fucking spine is broken on the book because you decide to put it in a paper envelope and mail it to the US. And of course, the envelope is fucking destroyed.
Well, I'll tell you what, I ended up having to buy a bigger mailbox because some comics I ordered got shipped to me, and the mail carrier just threw them on my steps, and I wasn't at home, and it came pouring down raining, and so I had a bag of mush.
Oh, wow.
That's what I did do that. When we built this house, we got an oversized mailbox because I know I had to move, like mail stuff out. But anyway, so I commented on their page, and I have to go back and make another comment because what they did was they responded to my comment, right? And they're like, you didn't. Well, for one thing, I got confused because the money exchange, like in their money, it was $67. Right? Not dollars, but yen or whatever. I don't know what it is. Anyway, in our money, it was like 57 or something like that. So I was like, nah, dude. So he was like, you never paid 67, you paid 57. I was like, doesn't fucking matter. I was saying, like, I was like, I paid 57 for a graphic novel. You know what I'm saying? And I was, and so they were like, well, if you just send us like pictures of the damage and I never responded to him yet because I was going to bed, you know, and I was getting all these texts like dings on my phone, you know. So I was going to reply to him the next morning. They left like 10 different messages on the campaign page, and the final message was, we mailed you out a new copy, you know, and it should arrive on this and this date. But to me, this is what I was thinking the whole time, right? I mean, if somebody paid that much money for my book, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would at least take the seconds it would take to cut 2 pieces of cardboard and put it on either side of the book and tape it up. You know, if I had to, I'd make a Gemini mailer to mail it to the US. Right. Yeah, I mean, stick it in a paper fucking envelope and put some bubble wrap in there and hope that it makes it there in one piece.
Remember that book?
Maybe taught the etiquette, you know.
Remember that book that I sent to as a matter of fact, I think it was Shanghai, I think.
Yeah.
Right? And the guy sends me the video, and it's beyond jacked up, right? Remember the pages were all stuck together? It looked like it had been like, I don't know, turned into like paper mache or something.
Yeah, it was like hard and stuck.
It
looked like you had... Like you got some Vaseline and you had a good time with the book, and then you just closed it up after.
It's like ripping and shit. Like,
yeah. And he was like, right. And I'm like, can I show this video without permission? He's like, yeah, but why would you want to do that?
Yeah, why?
I was just like, you know, doesn't that make you look bad? I'm like, no, because I'm going to fucking send you another copy. Because
it probably happened. Precipitation and heat. That's probably what happened. Like, so precipitation got in there, and then the heat just baked it together, you know?
Yep. Yeah, it was like next to like a hot pipe or something like that. Somebody was suggesting, right? But the thing is, it's like you got to eat that fucking $28 because it's, first of all, it's the right thing to do. But second, treat people fucking right. They're fucking giving you their money, not knowing if they're going to get a book or if
here's the deal. Even though that book was so good, even though I got it and it was fucked up, I would still back him if it was that exact team doing another book. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how good the artwork in the book was. And it was in black and white, dude.
That's cool. I also got the new Bisley book and Danzig book too, and I did a review on it.
Oh, nice.
Next week. Yeah, Hell Mask.
Which book is it?
Hell Mask.
Hell Mask.
Check that out.
Was
that on Kickstarter or was it on Indiegogo?
Neither. It was. I got it in the comic store. I actually ordered it, but you can get it on their eBay page. He finally got an eBay page up now for erotic. Danzig eBay. It's like $10 on there, and they have all the variants. And Matt Yackey colored it from Black Flag. He did a good job, I thought, with the colors. He kept all of his inks in there and everything. Didn't fuck up his inks. But it's I did a little review. It's short. I hope he does another one. But in the back they have movie recommendations like we do. They're all like the recommendations of the team that put the book together. Not Danzig, but his like kind of his team or whatever. It's all like foreign movies. Like, pretty cool.
Does Danzig have the name of the college that he went to for film and
I don't know. Yeah,
man, how the mighty are fallen. It's like, oh god, he's the new Ed Wood. It's official. He's
got great ideas. He really does have great ideas. The execution has a lot to be desired.
Yeah, man.
Well, hopefully he keeps making them and he gets surrounded by good people that aren't afraid to tell him their
exactly.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen because like Hart was saying, like I hope he keeps making movies, so maybe he'll get better. And then after like checking out his last joint, that fucking Western, I can't even remember the title of it now. I'm like, no, he just needs to stop. It's like I changed my mind. He needs to stop.
That's the point. Like, because most of us, if we keep practicing our craft, we tend to get better. But like,
of course,
dude, he made no improvement on the fucking. It was. I was excited for this movie because he actually had actors. Like he never hired just a bunch of fucking like porno chicks.
Yeah, Casper.
He managed to ruin a movie with professional actors in it.
Yeah.
And then also, he's a musician, right? That's what we know him for, is his music. You're watching the movie and there's no music.
Oh, really?
There's music. Like that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, but
I
you know what I'm
it,
saying? It's like there's not a proper score. He didn't sit down and write a fucking score for the thing.
You know who is doing a score? Viggo Mortensen for his new Western. I can't wait to see that. Yes, sir. Yeah,
no shit.
Because I always known he was a musician back from like Lord of the Rings when I worked at a beverage store. There was a tequila magazine, and the leg or Aragorn's on the cover. I'm like, what the fuck? And then that's when I started reading about him. Like, oh, he's Argentinian and fucking Danish, and he's a trucker, and he knows like all this shit.
And he's like multi talented. He's a polyglot. He speaks like 8 languages. Yeah. Seriously, if I could fucking die and come back as anybody, it would be fucking either Dolph Lundgren or Viggo Mortensen.
Right. Pretty much.
One of those Viking motherfuckers.
What's up, Matthew Creek? In the chat. How you doing, brother?
Oh, hey, what's up? What's up, Matthew? Hello. Let's take a quick look at this scene because I think it's a pisser. This is like one of the highlights.
This is probably the best scene in the movie. This whole sequence.
Then it won't feel quite so bad.
And the payoff is amazing.
The payoff's fucking great, right? Because
these are rich.
Shenkwatai's brothers come in.
They keep you on the edge the whole time. It's like, oh no, like they can't handle this guy. He's gonna mess them up. Like, oh, here's their buddy with the iron legs. Like he'll be able to kick their ass, right? And it's like he's got iron legs. Like, no, don't spoil it, man.
Oh, he means iron leg style, right? And then the guy's like, oh yeah, like everybody's like this iron fist and this iron elbow and this iron this and this iron that. There are plenty of iron styles.
Which is ironic because this guy.
Now I'll just stand here, and you can have 3 kicks and punches at me, and then it'll be my turn to hit you. And if you're able to knock me down, I promise, Mr. 2 will give you no more trouble. But if you can't stand my blows, and I'll limit myself to 3, then it's just your lousy luck.
Investigation.
Well, it's great.
Yeah, have.
Wait, brother, wait.
Matthew.
Wait for that.
I just love Lo Mang's facial expressions here. They're really priceless.
That's what I tell you. Like a lot of his expressions remind me of Bruce Lee. So I think Bruce Lee is like, hey, I like this guy's style.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I said, it's a style of acting, and of course, he started making movies in Hong Kong because he started making movies in Hong Kong because Hollywood didn't want him.
Well, you know, it's sad. Like, have you ever seen pictures in like period kung fu stuff? Like, he was going to do some stuff with Shaw, but it just never worked out like that.
Yeah, but also Golden Harvest had a much better deal in terms of that's why Jackie Chan didn't sign with Shaw's.
He said, "Fuck."
All right,
no,
I'm gonna give you the
exactly what he said. Why not? My style. Right, it lets them know. Okay, like now I'm gonna kick you.
That's right, Matthew. 100.
One kick left.
Oh.
He's like genuinely freaked out. Yeah, and he mentions that what he's doing is like he's a master of qigong. So we're talking about internal kung fu.
Yeah,
kung fu that's very much based on the breath.
I love it.
Jump mule kick. Fucking mad crazy skills.
Now it's my turn. Which one of you is first? Hold it.
He just comes through the door.
Yeah,
I was there the whole time.
Yeah, no, he he arrives like just in time because remember they were going to go in waves.
Mm-hmm.
I oppose.
We three are all in this thing together. So you can let me have my 3 shots, and then you can start on us. All right?
All right.
And in comes Wang Yi, of course, to like nearly fuck everything up.
Flipping into the scene.
Hey, don't be tricked by him. He's got iron feet.
Right. Just now he tried Way's iron fists, so he can try who's iron kicks.
Iron feet. These fancy names. I know most times don't mean a thing. Come on. Hey! You really should be ashamed. You call that a punch?
Now, the Harry Houdini case, of course, evidently what happened was the guy punched him when he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because he needed to, do his breathing technique.
Yeah, he been
try
doing
kick
now.
Hey, but they really are.
Your feet, they really are iron.
Biatch! Right, so now he's got a massive hole in his midsection. The clock is ticking. Dag. Literally dead on his feet.
He goes into instant rigor mortis.
Well, because he was all cheat up, right? So, yeah. Fucking great scene.
Yeah, I don't know if the Harry Houdini movie from the 70s was accurate, but like, of course, he did this famous thing where like people would punch him in the gut and it had no effect. And this big bruiser of a guy was like, "Hey, is the challenge still up?" He's like, "Oh yeah." You know, he wasn't really paying attention. The dude just wailed on him and ruptured something, and then he's like, "Oh wait, let me get ready." And to defend his honor, he let the guy hit him again.
Yeah, I think I heard about that. Yeah.
Killing blow, but he repelled that shot. But I was like, "Oh man, you've already got fucked up." And
they had,
Gorilla hit you again.
Yeah,
Russian Spetsnaz, like he was showing people how to take a hit, right? So he had this Navy SEAL like punch him in the chest, and every time he hit him, like he would exhale and flow with the punch and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
so this
he's
is
like
that.
Do that and cook soul.
Well, he was also saying he was like the Spetsnaz go through a more rigorous training than even the SEALs. Like they have a swimming pool filled with body parts and rotted flesh, and they have to swim that pool. You know,
really?
Like, Matt, how big was that book? The Hell Mask? Was it a thick book or was it?
No, it's a floppy, like 20 pages.
Now, like a little bit of chop socky movie lore. This is just completely according to me, right? Because I'm the expert. When you are in a chop socky movie and you die with your eyes open, you go to chop socky Valhalla.
Chapala.
That's your head canon, huh?
Chapala's a real place.
I'm an authority on this subject. I speak with authority. You go straight to fucking like this motherfucker, straight to fucking Chopsaki Valhalla, where you just hang out and fucking drink and party all day, and then kick the shit out of each other at night, and then heal your wounds, and you just start all over again. This is the nonstop fucking kung fu mayhem up there. Dude, but if you die with your eyes closed,
you go down to
you're going to chop sucking hell. And
I tell you, if I wasn't a Christian, I would definitely want Valhalla. Like, man, party all day.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you fight all day, and if you survive, you party all night, and then you wake up the next day and you start all over again. that is like the most manly. Afterlife,
most metal fucking afterlife you could possibly fucking imagine.
You die and you wake up the same, like back in Valhalla. Dude.
In that Dracula book, there's when he goes to Satan's school, the
Skullomance.
Yeah, the Skullomance. There's a Viking in there, and well, I don't want to spoil too much, but he has a beard, and fucking Dracula turns his beard into snakes. It's fucking dope. Dude. He's like, oh, a lot of the book is in the Skullomance. It's pretty wild, dude.
And see, I love that. The only book I've ever seen where they did that, I think it was written by Kurt Busiek, was Dracula Company of Monsters.
Nice.
And they got into, because Dracula's got all these powers normal vampires don't have.
Yeah, he's got some crazy shit.
Right. He's the master of the vampires.
That new book is fucking crazy. There's a lot of like.
But it's not just
you would say.
It's crazy
as
fuck.
It's not just a matter of his status as being an elder vampire, but part of the lore of Dracula is that he studied Skullomance. This esoteric magic from the devil.
Real quick, I was probably sorry about that, Matthew. We got I said we were gonna directly address what you're saying.
Yeah, Matthew, that's a good idea.
Paranormal investigation comic. It's illustrated on Kickstarter. It currently has 16 followers. Should I launch or wait? What do you got? What would you guys say?
I told them wait till 100, at least 90. You know what I mean? Like my first book, I waited till I had like, at least 80. I think I had like 90 people, and it was a slog.
I had 50 and I launched.
But that's also because you have to do a fucking painted card for every mofo.
No, not that. I'm talking about Doc Salem when I launched Doc Salem. I never did. No, but here's the thing, like, if you're going to launch directly after your pre-campaign, make sure you're hitting every stream as you possibly, because it's work, dude. It's not like you can just wait. You gotta hit every stream you can before it launches to get people to sign up, and then when it launches, you make sure you make it a big fucking event and you do as many fucking streams as you can, because you only got a week or two until it peters out, and then it's going to be dead space all the way into the campaign ends.
Yes,
right.
And then you're going to have another week or two when people are going to be back in it again.
Mind you, now is a really bad time. People are really struggling. They don't have as much money to spend. So if
you kind of want to wait until the beginning of the year.
I would wait till after the election, to be honest. Like myself, I'm closing up my wallet.
Yeah, I would.
Now I'm just buying the Conan book till the end of the year.
I
just backed Legacy of Kain. That was the last book I could get, and now I'm gonna wait.
You definitely don't want to launch around like November, December, like Christmas time.
Nah, wait till March. March is perfect because everyone's getting their tax returns. April, fuck yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I'm gonna. I'd love to launch in March, but I'm not.
And mind you, there aren't that many places to go right now in terms of promotion. That space has shrunk dramatically. You're always
welcome to come on like I've been on a loop.
Shit, though. What was that?
It's shrunk like a lot.
Yeah,
like
a whole lot. There's probably about a quarter of the people that were here. Let's just be real with Comicsgate. That's what was building that whole thing,
Yeah.
3/4 of them are gone. There's only a quarter of them now. I'd have to go back and I had like a list on my phone, and I would reevaluate that list every year. I'm like,
well, it kind of seems like the landscape's kind of changed too.
Yeah, dramatically.
Like a lot of the most successful campaigns that I've seen, like I haven't seen them doing shows to promote it. I've seen them like promoting, like they're using some, I don't know if it's like a firm or an app or something like that, but they're promoting it all over fucking Instagram and Facebook. And
you get a team to do that. Yeah.
Dude, they're making money, like serious money off of those campaigns. I'm talking like 25,000 to start, and then like a lot of them are ending like at $100,000.
Wow, that's awesome.
I would definitely recommend
you have to have the money to lay down for that. That's why
I don't know. Like that's what I'm saying. Is that like how does that work? Like with Facebook, is it just like you just pay for promotion with Facebook and they just drop it in?
You used to be able to pimp your own shit, and now it's like like the visibility, like because they have algorithms and all that shit. If you're posting like links to your campaign, they'll suppress that shit and they'll be like, "Hey, throw us some money," and a whole bunch of people are going to see this. Right?
Also, there's like
designed for people who already have a lot of money.
Then there's a lot of people like you're talking about, like those firms, like a lot of them will spam your email, and they're like as soon as you launch a campaign, they're like, we can help you. Okay, so 99.9 of those people are dog shit, but there's a 1% of them that will get your fucking campaign out there, and they will make you money. And they set up your shows, they put you on shows. And I know about this person.
You gotta make sure
I've dealt with these people before.
Do we know? Right. It's just like if you know somebody that does that delivers, that's okay.
Well, I know because they've done a massive campaign that pulled 300 grand. So like I know that they exist. You know what I mean?
Didn't do anything.
But again, 99% of these people that are going to help you back your campaign, they're full of shit. But there is like a tiny. You have to go through talk to some professional like comic creators, that have had successful Kickstarters. Ask them who's your firm that runs your shit for you, and
I've been
if you do want to like get on shows, like go to the Madness Comic Network, go to the Comic Crusaders. Both these guys are always willing to talk to and promote indie comics people.
Oh yeah, there is some
you can definitely get some reviews.
Yeah, if I was you, I'd talk to the people that have successful campaigns to just see what they're doing. But it's also if you're an unknown, it's going to be fucking hard, dude. So you better fucking wait to when people do have like expendable cash to go ahead and put out there. Yeah.
And also it's a case of where if this campaign doesn't work, don't get discouraged. You can always relaunch. Always let people know that I had 2 unsuccessful campaigns before I had like 6 successful.
I had one. My first campaign was I had a big Indiegogo.
That's how we met.
Cancel it for me.
That's how we met. I got in touch with you and let you know, like, dude, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Because I was trying to rally people behind the book too, because I wanted to read it because I'm a Frankenstein.
Absolutely did not work.
No, it didn't. But I let you know. I was like, dude, don't worry, you're gonna be able to relaunch, et cetera, but you're still gonna feel like you got kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, and then you had people coming out of the woodwork because at that time the political climate was like fucking bad, and I had people coming out saying, I told you it wasn't gonna be. I was like, fuck you.
Yeah, it's not exactly great now either, so
it was worse then, dude. It was way worse then. Like it was so much. God, it was terrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad right now, man. Pretty bad
right now.
I'm not saying it's not, but I mean, you were guilty by association back then. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure. But now, of course, it's so many people have left. So many people are sick and tired of waiting fucking 4 years, 5 years from books from the big guys, right?
Yeah,
so that hurts us too. Because
you can go on a show and get 5 backers, go on another show and get 3 backers, go on another show. Sometimes you go on a big show and get no backers, but you would get backers from a lot of the little shows. So now there's really none anymore.
And that sucks because I started following all this in 2018. I was 100% behind it. I backed these guys as much for their product, but also for the fact that I genuinely liked them. And now it's 3.5 years and I'm still waiting on a book. It's
it's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. What's the
a lot of his books I was disappointed in when I finally got
it. You can see the effects of this because 2 of the biggest guys who were starting all that, their numbers are crashing.
They sure are. And you know what? What do? They shit all over indie creators.
Yeah, what happened to all the positivity, dude?
Yeah, but
exactly.
Their numbers are crashing for one very good reason is that they never delivered their books. A lot of people are still waiting for the books from their first couple of campaigns, dude. I mean,
and then the people who actually do deliver on their books,
it's a combination. It's a combination of that, and it's a combination of they've kind of turned into the people they hate because now they're blocking.
Well, they have.
They're criticizing everybody. They're turning against their audience, which is fucking weird because that's the thing they're always this is what the comic pros do.
No, it's
becoming those dudes.
They're trying to find another way to create controversy to increase the flow of cash.
It ain't working because
it ain't working.
One of them is his numbers have dropped below 100K.
I'll name names. Rethan's going at me hard right now, and I'm thinking I'm not that interesting. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just you're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. You're like me.
I don't understand why he's all over
too.
I don't get why he's after you because he's already balls deep in Eric July shit.
I know.
That's not good
exactly. That guy's making millions.
Controversy, dude.
You're fucking with me because I wouldn't sing.
Honestly, I think maybe the Eric July thing might have hurt him a little bit because instead of absorbing Eric's audience, when
you start talking shit on other big creators, you're gonna get fucked. Look what's happening to your boy Zach. The boy Zach's getting fucked because he's talking shit. Same thing's happening to Ethan.
That was the rule, wasn't it? Never mess with somebody who has a bigger audience.
That was his
his golden rule.
He tried to keep it in the early days. He had a pretty good standard of what he wanted on his show, and I used to love his live streams when he and the other guys would just be drawing and they could
everybody did.
But he's become he's not a comic book maker anymore. He's a YouTuber. He's totally
that's exactly it. It's not even about the comic books a little bit anymore, right?
Yeah,
kind of I think of it as the 90s into the 2000s goth scene, right? Where it's just it was about the music and it was about the clothes, and then it was more about the clothes than the music. And then it wasn't even about the music, even just a little bit anymore.
Well, somebody
you know what I'm saying?
It's about hot topic.
It's not even a little bit about the comic books.
As far as the boy Zach goes, somebody nailed it, and as soon as they said it, I was like, "Fuck, you're right. This is it." Because I'm watching his numbers, even more so than Ethan's. They're dropping off a cliff, and I pretty much I tune in every now and again just to see what's happening, and it's weird because he's so schizophrenic now. He's talking about comic creators who are doing sucky things. I'm into that. What's going on? Oh, that comic was bad. Okay, I agree with you on that. And then he goes back to criticizing anybody who's criticizing him even a little bit. Oh, you're just after controversy. But and his numbers are so bad right now. But the thing somebody said is the thing about Zach is he's such a Marvel fanboy. This is really what he's always wanted, not to create his own stuff. He really wants Marvel to hire him to write G.I. Joe or something like that.
It's
never going to happen.
I still think there was something weird with that deal with Mark Waid and him, how it just all of a sudden just evaporated.
Oh, for sure. We know why too. Because
nobody got their money back from
charge of the money, right?
No, I think there was a deal signed or something like that. Like it was.
But do you know who was actually running the campaign to like collect all that money? Ethan.
Wait, who? Oh, was he?
Yeah. GoFundMe, yeah.
Yeah.
Because nobody got their money back.
Like, some of the shit though, like a little bit of money,
he gambled that shit away.
A little bit of shit that your boy Zach does say is kind of correct on some of the shit. Like, all right, so like he did a video today about the alien Romulus, like fucking nerdrotic and drinker. They're like fucking that movie, like like hating on it and shit. Yeah, everybody hates it. But I talked to my normie friends; they fucking love it. So you know what I mean? And it looks pretty dope. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like, the general populace. He's definitely. So there is sometimes your boy Zach does have some good takes, you know. But
yeah, he's not wrong all the time.
He is being a hypocrite though, like fucking most of the time, right? Like in the last two months, he needs to like shut the fuck up on that shit.
Well, I think it's
trying to make that transition, like Bracey said, and it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I think it has a lot to do with like these guys. They're not the same guys that when everything first kicked off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they got a taste of what it's like to have a ton of fucking money.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, right.
And they're on the take, dude. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's
really sad because Zach's books have gone from selling, you know, like $150,000 to like his last one made like 15,000. And man, it's just like,
well, you know what his new book is, right? He's doing a documentary comic where he's going to draw.
Oh, the comic book, yeah,
exactly.
I was going to do like a Joe Stacco thing.
He's going to draw for a month or 2 months straight. It's going to be he needs $22,000 in 9 days, and he's going to draw all of the comic books that he bought as a kid, and he's going to do a documentary on it. It's going to be like fucking that one book that Piscor did, you know, the Hip Hop Family Tree, but it's going to be specifically for comic books from like the 70s or 80s. He's going to draw.
I don't want to see that.
But no one's going to fucking.
Yeah,
no one's backing it, dude. He's got like maybe 7,000.
It's not going to go anywhere.
I'll be very honest with you, dude. The thing with Piscor still leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh my god!
I mean, even to mention that dude's name just makes me angry. Yeah.
I'll say this:
it's a fucking disgrace.
That's
the comic book industry, right? And that's one thing that Zach said that I think he was probably right about. He was like, they nominated Heather Antos, or was it? No, I'm sorry, Alex DeCampi.
Yeah.
For a Eisner. And he said basically it was their way of saying, like, not only do we not have a problem with what you did to this guy, we like it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
100%.
So even if you don't get the Eisner, you could say Eisner nominated. Right?
Well, Eisner's used to actually
your boy Zach book,
fucked up they
guys, your boy Zach book in 24 hours is at $5,000. That's a problem.
Oh my god.
That's a fucking problem. And he's drawing the fucking book. If he said I was going to draw a book on the comprehensive history of modern comics of the 80s and 90s, and he told you that like 2 years ago, people would he would have been $100,000 right now. Oh, Zach's drawing a book about a comprehensive history of comic books of the 80s and 90s. Books you guys fucking love. Books you guys love. He's going to be drawing covers and doing documentaries of it, drawing it himself, you know? No one's buying his shit. They're pissed. And I'm watching his numbers dwindle, his subscribers.
Oh, that's for sure.
He's at 99,500 right now. I'm like, fuck.
Oh, wow. Last time I looked, he was at 99.7. So he's dropping 200 subscribers.
And they're holding subscribers. Like I was at 402 subscribers, and they kept me at 380. I was like, what the fuck's going on right here? How come you guys are holding 22 subscribers? And it stayed that way and I kept looking because I'm trying to get monetized. And they're doing weird shit on YouTube, man. I don't understand what it means, you know.
Oh, geez,
you've always done that.
Yeah, like if you were like me and Pops have gone backstage and looked at the analytics, and then like had videos playing at the same time to see the numbers, like watching YouTube screw. Behind the scenes, we can see like YouTube screwing with the channel in real time.
Well, dude, I had 0 views, and then I had 8 people in my chat on one of my live streams.
Yeah,
I'm like,
what's going on here? The exact same thing in the madness.
So it's all good though. I'll play. We got to play by the rules, I guess.
0 views, but I've got all these people in the chat, so they must be watching, right? They're commenting. I see their comments like in real time. But no, we don't have any views.
It just sucks, man. And things change. Hopefully we can start up another movement and get some more shows going and get some more promotion going.
You see, but that's the thing where I think you're wrong, though. I don't think you need to start up a movement. I think you just have to put out quality work. You know what I'm saying? Like just quality, really well done work. and people will back it. You know, they'll buy it if they looks good.
But if they don't know who you are, they're not going to touch it. You could be Rob Liefeld and put out a campaign, which he did.
That's why you look for people that are doing like IPs, and you go and you contact me like, hey, would you mind if I did something for it? And then when they publish it, then you put it everywhere, and you're like, hey, I just did this.
You can have
the conversation we had before the stream.
Then you get a name, and then people are like, I wonder what that guy's putting out next. You know.
Well, I mean,
and then you try to hook up your buddies, like you have a very, very small group of buddies where you're like, hey guys, I'm in here. Let me see if I can get y'all in here too.
Well, the issue is it's like
the window.
I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, because this is kind of how I ended up finding like Joe Ball and Death and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the issue is, like, you can put out the most amazing written and drawn comic book ever, but if you can't get it in front of eyeballs, then it's meaningless.
Worthless. Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. You have to have audience.
It takes work, dude. It takes work to get it out there in front of people. But
but it's hard. You can do all the work, but if the game is rigged against you, like, it's talk about an uphill battle.
Yeah.
In the comic stores, it's hard.
It is kind of.
I don't think it's going to be like this forever.
You got to work the landscape. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't depend on people to go ahead and like push your product. Like, you got to do it. And it's like the landscape's
but
it's different now, but it's not.
Like YouTube has become like the big commercial for everybody's shit.
Yeah,
like,
but there's other places more than YouTube. Like, people aren't buying comics from YouTube anymore. TikTok.
It's blowing up.
My lady orders so much shit from TikTok.
Yeah. That's on there. I sold 3 books like real quick, you know? And I'm like, damn, in October, I'm going to.
How many followers do you have?
I don't even go on there really. I got like fucking 50 or something. Like, but I'm not.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. You see, the landscape's changed. But if you work the land, YouTube isn't the place to go anymore. It was the place to go when everybody had a fucking show, you know, and there was this big political thing happening. It's not the same thing anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
TikTok, dude, and like there's a big audience on there, and the crowd, the indie crowd, the indie comic book audience is growing.
Yeah, but do you really want to go on Instagram where they can just steal all your artwork?
No, I'm not going.
I'll go anywhere I can possibly go to go ahead and sell my books. You know what I'm saying? And to market my books, even Instagram. Like, I'll be straight. Like, I'm scrolling through Instagram. I'm like, fucking, there's a new book coming out. You know, it's Legacy of Kain. I was like, I had no idea this shit was even around. You know, I click on it.
Oh yeah.
Then I'm signed up and I'm buying a book. You see where I'm going with that? Like, yes, people. You know what? People can steal your artwork. If your artwork's on the internet, people are going to steal it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do to stop that.
All you can do. I'm talking about fucking Meta is stealing your shit.
Dude, anybody can steal your work. You know, if you Google my name right now, you're going to see a ton of work on fucking images, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can go on there, take it, and drop it into an AI program. It's that easy. Like, it's not what you think. Like, if you want to be one of those people who hide your work, you can do that. But nobody's ever going to see your work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a double-edged sword.
Out there regardless. Like me, I don't care about posting. I just think it's like you have to have like a firm or something, or production company putting your ads up on there with dope ass product. That's another thing. You got to look like you have to have pro level shit, you know. Otherwise,
exactly. Like you're gonna have
to figure something else out, you know. It ain't like
landscape change, but it's not as different as you think it is. Like you'd use the same methods. You have to work the land a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we have a lot of adapting to do. I think that eventually,
if you don't, just what Brian said, if you don't adapt, you die. That's it. Yeah. You know, that's
pivot.
Word. Okay, let me see.
I just hate to pivot onto scumbags' platforms.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know,
their platforms are dying. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
If they're trying to live on YouTube, well, YouTube isn't.
I'm not even talking about
friendly place to those motherfuckers.
I'm not even talking about YouTube. I'm talking about Instagram because that's Zuckerberg.
Oh, you're talking about those guys? I thought you were talking a whole different.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all of it.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I get it.
Like I was saying,
TikTok is the blown up thing, but you know, like Fuck you being.
Well, let me put it this way: when everybody was doing YouTube, like YouTube was the scumbag back then because YouTube was not friendly to anybody, like in CG. YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it was very friendly until Google got a hold of it. I used to enjoy posting stuff on my channel on YouTube. I was getting some pretty decent traction, and then Google got a hold of it, and they changed the algorithm. The adpocalypse, like, well, that's the end of my channel.
yeah, no, I heard about that. Like, there's a lot of people making money paying their bills.
Yep.
And you didn't need to have over 1,000 followers or anything like that. But you're right. When that happened,
I went from being monetized to not being monetized.
Yeah.
It was like,
no,
what?
I mean,
I was just trying to get somewhere.
Right. Yeah. Well,
like you're always going to have somebody's thumb, dude. You know, I mean, that's just the way the world works.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and you know, especially in America, where you know the rules are just always changing, and the
they're always against
always
you.
being moved. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it could be pretty frustrating. But the thing is a bunch of us, we all met each other together in this scene, and you can't do awesome things with basic people, and we've met and hooked up and aligned ourselves with awesome people, and we're going to do awesome shit. And eventually, it's going to get recognized.
That is true. I'm proud to know all of you, even Matt.
Likewise, sir. Likewise. Yeah, I mean, he's a dubious motherfucker. I'm not going to lie. I
don't smoke doobies, though.
No, he doesn't.
Don't smoke doobies.
He does. He does like the occasional brewski, though. Oh shit, man. Let me see. It's 2:06. I guess we'll wrap up. I'm not sure. Next week, of course, Horror Movie Club. What do you think we should do? I was thinking Don't Look Now, but I think maybe that's been taken off of free streaming.
Oh, there's a movie.
Yeah.
What is it called? Hold on, let me look it up.
Let's see.
It's from 2001. though. Is that cool, or does it have to be older?
It doesn't have to be old.
All right.
You know, with the Horror Movie Club, it's like we can choose anything from something that just came out last year or this year to Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Dr. Caligari was fucking amazing. This was
cinema, man. Yeah, I mean that's that's one of the immortal classics. For sure.
Pulse. It's Pulse.
Oh, okay.
The Japanese version or the American?
The American version. The American, or do you want to do the Japanese? Like,
I haven't seen the remake. I've heard it's not that good.
I've watched both.
It was decent.
The Japanese version would be better myself.
Yeah. Well, the Japanese is always better.
the Japanese version is really, really, really good.
Well, I will say, the American version of which one was it? The house where everybody goes into, they get haunted.
Ju-on.
Right. The American version of that was good, but that's because they got the director of the Japanese version to direct the American version.
Right.
So it made it kick ass.
I mean, just like the idea that we're remake movies just to have them in English is pretty fucked up.
I'd be completely cool with doing the Japanese version of Paul's. I think it'd be sweet. You know.
All right.
Yeah.
If we can
find it.
Yeah.
Is it called Pulse or is it called something else?
Like the Japanese name is something like Cairo. It's like
Cairo.
I don't remember how it's spelled.
Yeah. Let's see. It's on the Roku channel and AMC Plus, which is not a free service. I mean, like tonight's movie, for instance, isn't on free streaming, but I asked you guys first, like, do you have Amazon Prime? And then I was like, okay, cool. It's I've been wanting to do
I think I watched this on Plex. If any of you guys have Plex, I actually watched this movie on Plex.
Oh, okay. But it's just like all these movies, they were on Tubi and then they were gone.
That's the way streaming works, man.
It is.
Pulse is on Tubi.
Oh, that works.
I think it's only the American version, though.
Yeah, only I'm not sure about
it's two sequels.
Yeah, I don't know about the
sequels. Two sequels. Oh, what
I
about?
never bothered with the sequels because it's like, what's the point? Like it's the story's kind of told.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it has a
dead horse at that point.
Where the story ends in that film, I don't need any more story. So some things, like if I feel like I've hit a proper endpoint, like for instance, I didn't watch Twin Peaks past them, the whole conclusion of like Bob the Evil Spirit, and like I didn't need to go into the next season or two or the movie after that. I was like, nope, story's done for me.
The last season of Twin Peaks was Lynch at his absolute finest as a filmmaker. Holy fucking shit. Amazing. Trust me, if you haven't seen that season, I think it's season 3.
Okay.
Twin Peaks, you have to see it. It's incredible.
The Japanese name for Pulse. The Japanese name for Pulse is Kairo. It's Kairo, which means circuit.
Oh, let me check this out. I think I'm seeing if I could find a copy of Wreck, because that
that's
is
a good
fucking
one.
Amazing movie. And
Train from Busan, man.
We did that.
Oh, dude.
So
what about
good.
part 2? Did we do part 2?
Oh, part 2.
Peninsula? No.
Part 2 is fucking amazing, dude. Peninsula is the shit.
I really enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it yet.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. The sequels to Wreck, however, are leave something to be desired. But I don't know. We'll figure it out.
They get pretty crazy. Like, how about the one with the wedding? Is that Wreck 3?
Yeah,
that gets pretty far out. And it's so far away from like the first couple of movies seem to be. Yeah, it's like like a super rabies, and it turns out to be demonic possession, and then by 3, it's just a zombie movie.
Zombies, exactly. Because to me, that's the thing that's really creepy about Wreck. They're not zombies.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we'll figure it out. We can discuss it in the DM group. Matt, tell these fools where they can find you and your dope ass shit.
Well, thanks, Brian. You guys could find me on Twitter at Runecutter Comic. You could also find me on my channel, Metal Movies and Brewskis, where I do reviews, and then usually I do like a Saturday show where I'm talking about metal movies, monsters, and all that shit. Thanks, Brian, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And if you guys want to check out my Gothic horror western, Butch Cleaver, it's at butchcleaver.com.
Word. Thanks for hanging out, man. Bracey, tell these fools where they can find you and your stuff.
Well, on the X, you can find me at Bracey452. That's Bracey452. On if you want to see over 500 pieces of artwork, you can go to DeviantArt and look up Bracey100. You can also find me on shows for both Comic Crusaders and the Madness Comic Network. Madness Pops just kind of shoots me a link and say, hey, you want to be on this? And I pop in with the Comic Crusaders. I have a couple of dedicated shows, which unfortunately are not consistent due to various life things, but Cinema Crusaders and Sloppy Spoilers, which are 2 programs where we do basically what we do here. We do analysis of TV shows, movies, pop culture oriented stuff, fantasy, sci-fi, horror, superhero genre, that sort of thing.
Excellent. Preston, tell these fools where they can find you, mofo.
X at Nikki the Pipe. And that's it. And here.
Yeah.
Are you the only person that calls it X? Does anybody?
I called it X.
I do it because it irritates.
Okay. Rachel the Rabbit. Yeah, sorry. We are just wrapping up, but thank you for swinging by.
It is funny because if you look up Twitter online, it still says twitter.com, but it'll take you to X. I love that.
That is a bonus. A massive troll.
I guess I think I would leave it like twitter.com if I wanted to rebrand it as X, because if you put x.com, you're probably going to see titties. I'm just saying.
Big bitties.
Yeah. Although you can see those on X, I found out much to my shock. It's like, oh,
Well, everybody loves Take It Easy. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate you. Smack that like button, spank the subscribe button, ring a ding dong dong, the bell for notifications. And I don't know, is Pops hanging out in the back? Does he want to take us out?
He's backstage for the what's the magazine? Shit, he just said it.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's kind of like a take on Mad magazine. I still haven't read that. I gotta check that out. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next week. And until then, peace, love, and metal up your